I'm Murray Edwards, class of 1973, agricultural economics major from Clyde, Texas. After graduate school, I became an agribusiness entrepreneur. Started out in California, along with some partners, started an irrigation business. Came back to Texas several years later, and have been involved in the grain elevator business, feed manufacturing, cattle feeding, and vegetable processing, and commodity trading businesses since then. I feel like that what allowed me to move from different areas of responsibility was persistence or stick-to-itiveness. I've also had a lot of discipline, which came in handy because invariably businesses hit a downturn or hit a rough spot, and your ability to stay in there and hang in there until things improve, I think has been a critical factor, at least for me. I've always been a person who wasn't afraid to take risks, although I tried to keep those risks mitigated to some degree. I've never been afraid to walk while others ran, or run while others walked. And I've never been afraid of businesses that weren't glamorous, and have never been afraid of hard work. Well, the advice I have for a student, when you walk into a room, invariably there will be someone in that room who's smarter than you are, or someone who's more talented or more gifted. Those are things that you really can't control. You can control, however, your ability to outwork everybody in that room. And I would suggest that one of the key things you could do besides outworking everyone in the room is finding a good mentor, not only in college or graduate school, but also as you approach your business life. And a mentor is someone who not only pats you on the back occasionally, but sometimes gives you a piece of critical advice that may be a little painful to hear. Sometimes it may be a little kick in the behind when you need to get going, but it's not someone who merely just gives you platitudes all the time. The other piece of advice I would say is that a lot of students, particularly those who grew up in Texas, want to live in Texas. Texas is a great state, and I don't blame them. But there's a lot of the world to see outside of Texas, and over the span of a 50-year career, I think it's good to live somewhere outside the state for 5 or 10 years, maybe outside the country. You can always come back to Texas. I think one of the most important things about a student in his first jobs, or even later on in life, is making yourself indispensable to your partners or to your company or to your organization. And that means being willing to do all kinds of extra things that someone else may or may not be willing to do. Maybe it's creating the spreadsheets, or making the difficult sales calls, or perhaps it's acting as the janitor from time to time. But understanding that there is no job that's too insignificant for you to do, and then making yourself indispensable. The other thing is that there is the Aggie Network, and it is alive and well, and it is very appropriate for you to be a part of that Aggie Network, both as a taker, particularly in your earlier years, but later as a giver. And I think that's one of the great things that makes this university unique. And finally, I would say that the notion that when you graduate from college or graduate school, that someone will come knocking at your door and offer you success is a myth. Success doesn't seek you out. You have to seek out success. Your parents and your professors and your significant other or your friends won't lead you to success. You have to find that success and prove yourself one-on-one in the business world. And the great news is that you're very well equipped coming out of a great university like Texas A&M.